Dear distinguished participants, good morning from Athens. Thank you for your presence to the 15th Safety Gala virtual workshop, Rethinking Safety, Reassessing, Redesigning, Reshaping. Thanks to Management Force, we're all gathered virtually here for this gala, which started in 2009 and it's implemented continuously. The Internet is a global forum and its main goal is to contribute to the improvement of the safety culture. We tend to organize it in physical presence next year as our branch company in Albania has already did Safety Gala Tirana. This year's gala agenda covers a greater area than safety, including sustainability, environment, emergencies, AI, and technology. Thus, it concerns the entire hierarchy of an organization. Entries from the private sector, health and safety organization, public sector bodies, and universities are joining this gathering. This year, the participants so far, registrations are still ongoing, come from 36 countries. Special thanks to the exquisite speakers, moderators, and organization collaborating. Democritus University of Thrace, European Society of Occupational Safety and Health, CSR Hellas, International Hellenic University School of Science, Occupational Safety and Health Africa Foundation, and of course, special thanks to all the participants. Today, 5 sessions will take place, followed by one roundtable. We hope you enjoy it and participate to the fullest. Thank you. I pass the floor to the moderator of the first session, Mrs. Lefopoulou. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dioti. Let me introduce myself. I'm Alexandra Lefopoulou, journalist and communication and media relations partner of CSR Hellas. And I'm very honored to participate in the Safety Gala of Management Force. The subject to discuss, the topic to discuss is safety as element of sustainability. What is really the link between safety and sustainability? While the last decade has proved to be a reckoning of sorts for corporate attitudes toward environmental, social, and governance, ESG imperatives, employee health and wellness has been chronically overlooked as a key ESG concern. So today, the organization, if the organization want to truly invest in the resilience of their businesses, they must invest in the resilience of their people. That means how can do that? By addressing critical issues that affect their health, communities, economic stability, education, and social identity. But how can we balancing sustainability with health and safety at work? Mrs. Maria Alexiou, President, Chairman of the Board of Directors of CSR Hellas, Vice President of CSR Europe, member of PTF NFRO of EFRAG, and Senior ESG Advisor of Titan, will be our keynote speaker to explain us how can we do that. So Mrs. Alexiou, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you for hosting me today in this very important gala that is organized by one of our honored members at CSR Hellas. I am Maria Alexiou, and I have worked for many years in the field of sustainability and corporate social responsibility. So I would like to take you in a short, let's say, understanding overview of what is today I don't know if I have managed to share with you already my screen. Is this okay? Yes. So I would like to take the opportunity and share with you an overview of the situation we experience today in the field of sustainability and the changes that we experience in the corporate world. As said already, apart from my other responsibilities, I am currently also working together with other experts at EU level, at the European Union level, for the development of European standards for corporate sustainability. So the environment we are operating is changing, and let's see together what are the main questions that we try to answer today. One of the first questions that is not a question only for us in Europe, but it's a question that is raising all over the world, is about our system. Is the system we have experienced so far for many years is changing? Is capitalism taking a new form? And how this form is defined? A new version of this issue is identified as stakeholder capitalism. And this means that we move from focus on profits and shareholders to value and stakeholders. And this is something that is very much important, because for sure, for many years, corporations and companies have been mainly focused on how they can create profits and how they can satisfy the expectations of their shareholders. But this is not the case anymore. How this new responsibility and accountability approach is taking a new shape, a form of more regulatory approach in the way we behave as corporations. As I said already, European Union the last few years has started a very critical effort to pioneer worldwide with a more regulatory approach and a more standardized approach in the way we seek to build this new system that, as I said already, is a different system from the one we have experienced so far, because if we move from making to value creation, for sure, we speak for another way of not only taking decisions, but also planning for our future. What is the role of safety in this new system? This is something that I will try to touch in my short presentation today. I hope with the discussion that will take place in the panel, we will have more insights from all participants. And the last but not least, are we ready? Do we have the competencies that are needed for this new, completely new system and the new environment we want to build? And being means, actually, do we have the competencies that are needed for each and every one of us to play our role as professionals in this new, completely and different environment? Do we live in a new era? I think we all agree. Yes, then the conditions we're living in, and it's not only the experience we had with COVID, it is all we have experienced the last decades with climate change, with people's rights, with equal opportunities for all, is creating this need to change the system and to move in a system that will be more responsible. In order to have a system that is going to be more responsible and more forward-looking rather than backward-looking, we need to change. This has not started recently. If we go back in the years, we know that since the beginning of 1990s, we have started identifying what is the problem. And the problem is that this planet that hosts us all, and we believe that we'll be here to host our children and our grandchildren, is really meeting the limits that count for the resources that are offered to us in order to survive and in order to have what we call a sustainable and livable future. For many years, we have taken commitments as countries, as people, as corporations, but unfortunately, these commitments has not delivered the results that we should have seek for. On the other hand, we have seen that it has taken a lot of decades to come to a consensus around the world of what sustainability means and what is the common interest, let's say our common public interest to save the planet and to have this new, let's say, way of behaving in order to secure, and this is a very important word, security, to secure our lives, to secure our well-being, and to secure our planet along with our well-being. This is the reason that we have decided that we have to change the way we operate, we have to change the system. And this is about the discussion we take to define sustainability more clearly and more, let's say, more specifically, in order to be sure that we work towards the right direction. So people, planet, and profit should be seen as one thing. And this is what today allows us to define what type of business model we would like to have. And sustainable business model is a system that is not creating profits, is a system that works to create long-term value. And this is the critical difference between the past and the future. So please keep this definition in your mind, because I think this is very critical to be understood by all of us. And what matters here is our impact. What we have done so far is that we have not given enough attention to the impact we have on the planet, but also on people. And this is something that is changing now, and we try to shift from looking to the financial aspects to looking to the aspects that are material. So you see here that the balance is changing. For sure, we will keep on looking on financial aspects, but now we know that financial aspects are not the only aspects that matter. There are more matters that matter, and we have to take them into account. And when we talk about sustainability today, it is about this approach to accountability. If you see some pictures, recent pictures, you can see that climate change for sure is and will remain a top issue in our agenda. But also we have to be alert, because looking how we can solve the problems that we have created for many years on the planet, at the same time, we cannot ignore that is not only of equal importance, but even of more importance, to keep safety of the people at the top of the list. So safety of the people is one of the most important aspects that we have to consider when we talk about sustainability and impact. And you may see here, for example, when we talk about impact today, what this means. And impacts relate primarily on the people and on the environment. And they have 3 dimensions, the impacts we create. And these 3 dimensions are correlated. They are not divided. So they are environmental impacts, there are social impacts, and there are governance matters that are correlated to our behavior, to the way we make decisions, and to the way we act. So here is the agenda of sustainability today. And here you see what are the basic matters in the sustainability agenda. I have highlighted, of course, the list of the topics we have in our agenda that are related primarily with the matters or the impacts, if you like, related to the people. So here you can see that health and safety, it is a fundamental matter in our agenda. And it is not a fundamental matter within the sphere of our influence, which means within the borders of our company. It is a fundamental matter that is beyond the limitations of the perimeter of our organization. It is a fundamental matter that goes throughout our value chain. So it is not a topic that we have to look only within our organizations. It is not a topic that we have to take care only for our own employees. It is a topic that from now on we have to consider for all the people, for all the employees in our value chain, which means the employees of our suppliers and the employees of our customers. And allow me to say this is a significant change from the way we used to look to this aspect in the past. So safety, health and safety managers, health and safety professionals are now coming to a front line, not to consider how they will manage safety, health and safety, hygiene, health and safety within their own organizations, but how they will lead the way in the value chain and how they will manage to enforce new standards in the value chain, because allow me to say, we all know that the major problems are not within the perimeter of the organizations we can have control. The real challenges we have to face are beyond our traditional control, are in our long, let's say, chain of suppliers, and particularly in a number of suppliers that we cannot even see, we cannot even know that are our suppliers, because we have what we call first-tier suppliers, second-tier suppliers, third-tier suppliers, and there are hundreds of organizations that may work in order to supply us services or goods. And this makes the things, of course, even more difficult than they look from a first view. What is needed? I was trying to look what are the competencies we need today, looking at this challenging agenda and the roles we need to have as professionals in our own work. And I have come out looking through different reports, and also reports related to safety management professionals. And I came out to this conclusion that you see here, and I would like to ask your opinion and maybe challenge ourselves if this is really what is needed. I came out with these 4 items that I think that are the most needed competencies for us. First of all, strategy and vision, because I believe in safety and in sustainability, if we don't believe in it, if we don't have as professionals our own strategy and vision for what we do, we cannot be successful. On top of that, a sustainability strategy today becomes really a core element of the corporate strategy. It is not possible to perform if we really don't feel and believe in sustainability and what sustainability means, as already said in the previous slides. So, but this is not enough. Connectivity and influence. And this is out of the traditional role, as I said, we used to have. Because connectivity will connect us with the value chain and with the people in the value chain that, as already said, are also part of our own responsibility. And of course, ability to change and change as a corporate chameleon. So our role is not the same anymore. And we have to take the new roles that are put on us and change the way we used to behave, change the way we actually work with our colleagues, and of course work with our business partners in all links of this huge value chain that is related to our corporations. And last but not least, we need to have empathy. And for sure, to have the systems in place, to have the technical background, to have all the tools we need, all the processes that we build in order to safeguard health and safety in the working environment are important. But more important is that we equip ourselves with empathy. And this is so because we have to remember, people come first. And if we don't have this empathy, we cannot really put people in the core, in the heart of any system, of any decision, and of any development we do in our own working environment. So from my side, I would like to keep this in mind, and then I would like to hear from your own experiences how this feels, how this look for you. So we just celebrated the Labor Day, and this year's Labor Day was dedicated to health and safety, because yes, health and safety is a fundamental right. And from my side, it is at the core of everything we need to do to bring a new system in place that will be sustainable, will be resilient, and will be secure, not only for us, but also, as I said, for the generations to come. From my side, I would like to close here, but any comments from your side or any question will be most than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. I would like to inform you that all the participants that they can write their question in the live Q&A box on the virtual platform. I have a question. If we can so clearly connect employee health and safety and well-being to corporate ESG, why did it take until the pandemic for many companies to consider that this is a hot ESG topic?
I'm sorry, I think I didn't hear well. Can you repeat the question?
If we can so clearly connect employee health and safety and well-being to corporate ESG, why did it take until the pandemic for many companies to consider that this is a hot ESG topic?
I think the reason is that any crisis we experience, and the pandemic was an unexpected shock, not only a crisis, reveals the, let's say, the critical defects of the system. So the pandemic reversed the agenda, because it was always in our consideration of the ESG topics. It was never left aside. It was always there, but still the pandemic, we had the belief that it was under control. So the shock came to demonstrate to all of us that we don't have anything under control. And actually, this is one of the characteristics of the era we live now. We have to be ready to take nothing for granted. And we should never take health and safety for granted.
Mhm.
This was the meaning for me of the pandemic and the side effect that created for businesses. It demonstrated that it is not something we should take for granted. It is something that we should always be alert and be ready to face with new dimensions, because the pandemic gave to health and safety a completely new dimension and revealed how important it is to stay alert and stay always focused on the significance of the health and safety within the organizations, but also, as I said before, in the value chain. And this is another element that the pandemic revealed to business, how the issues in the value chain may reflect or may affect on our organization.
And what can we expect in the next future from by your experience as a member of EFRAG for safety and health related on the sustainability issues? One can people of health and safety expect by EFRAG or by other European organizations?
I think the health and safety people will be mostly the more let's say the more important partners for the implementation of the new regulation that is coming from the European Union. What is changing in the landscape right now in Europe is that the commitments that so far we have taken to pursue sustainability and to establish the health and safety conditions as described are not going to be only voluntary commitments anymore. Mm-hmm. From now on, what we say, we have to prove by evidence. So I believe with the new regulations that have already started coming to us, and actually the new European sustainability reporting standard that we are developing will become a delegated act for all European companies from the beginning of 2024. From what we do right now and the consultation process with all key actors, I think the health and safety professionals are the most, let's say, good ambassadors of what we're doing, because health and safety professionals are people who work with standards. Health and safety professionals are the ones who don't afraid to take a standard and implement it into practice. So I think what is coming from regulation will make the life of health and safety professionals more easy, although it's going to put new dimension in their work, because, as I said, will expand their role beyond the barriers of the organization to include suppliers and customers, and particularly employees of suppliers and customers. This is the difficulty. But from the other side, the fact that we will have standards, we will have specifications, we will have metrics, we will have the need to build transition plans, even for health and safety, in order to improve further the health and safety aspects. For health and safety professionals are tools that are needed. And I hope I'm right, and allow me to ask our colleagues here to respond on that. So from all the consultation that takes place, I think the ones who are less complaining right now are the ones who are coming from this environment. Exactly because, as I said, we have been talking for sustainability for many years without coming to the outcomes we have been expected, because commitments are easy, but to deliver is difficult. Now we have more clear view of what we need to achieve, and also we will have some more specific standards and metrics to measure and compare what we achieve. And this will lead us, of course, to further developments and progress, because it is where the more mature companies will create also best practices at the end of the day. And this is not only fair, but this is the right thing to do.
So we have a very significant comment and question from the participants, from Mrs. Emilia Petkowska. After so many decades of formal health and safety, we lack safety leaders and believers. We have to change our stakeholders' mind and attitude first in order to change safety culture. How do you think? How long can it take?
This is a difficult question, allow me to say. I cannot estimate how long it's going to take. I believe, and I want to believe, that because of the shocks we have experienced, it will take much shorter time than it took to reach the level we are today. It took us more than 30 years to define what sustainable business model is, and to find a common definition, and to agree on common rules and standards. But now things are moving much faster. It is a matter of education to create the new mindset, and I think efforts like the one we have today, but more efforts like that, sharing and learning from each other, transforming inside out our organizations, is what is going to take us faster to where we want to go. But as I said, it is up to us, having the competencies I presented, to be the leaders in our own environment. So the question comes back to us, what we are ready to do in order to make this happen faster than it was happening so far. And do we feel that we are ready to play this role of the leader or of the hero in this transformation? Because yes, that's what we need to do.
Thank you, Maria, for your challenging speech. Let me ask you to stay with us in the open discussion with three experts from the field. Mrs. Filio-Bultuka, I'd like to introduce the participants in the panel. Mrs. Filio-Bultuka, Director of Domestic Marketing, Quality, Health, Safety and Environment at Hellenic Q Energy Holdings. Mr. Konstantinos Papakostas, Quality, Health and Safety Manager at Olympia Odos, and Mr. Thanos Balfousias, Regional Health and Safety Director at Titan Cement Group. So I would like to begin with a comment from all of you from the discussion with Mrs. Alexiou. And the question this year, a safe and healthy working environment is a fundamental principle and right at work. A year ago, in June 2022, the ILO, in his International Labour Conference, decided to include a safe and healthy working environment in the framework of fundamental principles and rights at work. This year, on the International Health and Safety Day, on 28 April, the ILO has celebrated this decision. This decision is about the implication it has for the world of work, as well as how to practically implement this right in the world of work. So why is so important to promote the fundamental right to a safe and healthy working environment? Mrs. Bultuka, I want to begin with you.
Good morning, and thank you for the invitation. First of all, let me say that I'm thrilled that today we're talking about sustainability and we're not talking about environment. We're talking about social for a change. Now, regarding your question, indeed, we celebrated the safe and healthy working environment as a human right. And indeed, we need to continue promoting that. Although it sounds that it is common logic, we need to remember that the employers were firstly obliged to ensure a safe and healthy workplace in 1981 for the first time. And that had to do with, when we talked about safety in the workplace, had to do with machinery, equipment, and processes. And then in 2006, not many years ago, we talked about prevention measures and promoting health and safety in the workplace. Today, in Europe, at least where we operate, we're talking about not only a healthy and safe work environment, but also a well-adapted work environment, which is essential for achieving a strong, fair, and inclusive social Europe. So there is a lot of work to be done yet when we're talking about the workplace. And there is a lot of work to be done as well, considering psychosocial risks, which is a major topic lately, and which is something that I think that we haven't touched a lot yet. So yes, we have measures in place regarding the equipment. We have controls, we have procedures, but there are other issues like the psychosocial risks that we haven't managed, in my opinion, very well yet, because the design and the management of work has to do with this kind of risks. And I think it is very well put, let's say, that health and safety is indeed a part of the social pillar of sustainability, because everything that has to do with work and the way we work and the conditions under we work and how happy we are with our work is linked with health and safety. So all of this package, let's say, under the social pillar of sustainability, has to a lot of work to be done and has to move forward in order for health and safety as well to move forward. So all of these rights we have to promote, and health and safety is part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Papakostas, are you agree with all that we say about the fundamental right to a safe and healthy working environment? What's your experience and your opinion?
First of all, good morning to everyone. I'd like to thank you for the invitation and congratulations to Management Force for this Safety Gala. The annual World Day for Safety and Health at Work on the 28th of April promotes the prevention of occupational accidents and diseases globally. This is an awareness-raising campaign intended to focus an international attention on its magnitude of the problem and how promoting and creating a safety and health culture can help reduce the number of work-related deaths and injuries. So we should take the opportunity of the recognition of the occupational health and safety at work as a fundamental human right and consider this as a challenge to our daily corporate activities and operations. So I would say, as employers, we are responsible for ensuring that the working environment is safe and healthy. As workers, on the other side, we are responsible to work safely and to protect ourselves and not to endanger others, to know our rights and to participate in the implementation of preventive measures. However, we can make a huge step towards promoting safety. We can create a safe and healthy working environment, as per the ILO campaign, this is the term, irrelevant to the fact that we have a direct or indirect employment status with a worker. Only then we can have a concrete policy towards promoting the occupational health and safety.
Thank you. Mr. Balfousias, what's your experience and your opinion?
Good morning from myself as well. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation and the participation in this very useful panel and interesting. Look, first of all, I would like to answer to Mrs. Petkovska, if I may, about the question on how much it will require for this. I would say that the most important thing is, first of all, to convince each company's shareholders and decision makers about the necessity of safety. Everything starts from there. Right? This is the top of the pyramid. This is what we have done in Japan for many years. I would like to say that I'm proud of working for 20 years in this company because it is actually promoting health and safety as one of the main pillars of the work. Now, what is, if someone would ask anyone, what is actually safety? What would anyone reply in such? How can I understand the safe work environment? Right? What is the foundation in order to create something like that? From my experience in 23 years in the field in industries, what I have seen is that the people want you to be next to them. And this is the main way and the best way to promote health and safety. Maria mentioned before a very good Greek word called empathy, when she next to we call it in Greek. And it is the key to everything you want to do in your career or in your life. You have to convince the people that you are working with why you are next to them, why you are saying all these things to them regarding safety, that you understand the particularities of their job, the personal issues, and what they will need in order to do their work safely. And let's see, from my experience as well, what I have seen is that people do not like to see normal paper or office working people going next to them, telling them how to work. They have to understand that the person that is talking to them is actually understanding what are the problems of their job and what are the difficulties that they face, and what they need is someone to help them overcome. So what we have done, how can we reach, let's say, a level that we can say that we have a safe work environment? I can put down a number, something that we have done it, and I think they are the key in order, if you want to follow the road of going into a safe way. This is continuous training, right? We can say that we have more than 30,000 hours of training each year only in Greece, in Titan. The selection criteria for our stakeholders and contractors. Open communication that promotes finding with annual awards as well to people that are working with blue collars or employees of the year, promoting safety. People that are working safely they have to be addressed, they have to be shown, they have to be used as examples. Incidents, how do we analyze incidents? How do we include people from all the levels of the hierarchy in order to show them our devotion to them? The doctors, social workers that are working with psychotherapy, dealing mainly with psychological or more personal issues that an individual might have, right? And above all, going into the new century and going into the new generation, we have to digitize as well safety issues, to digitize whatever we can related to health and safety in order to gain as well the interest of the new workers, the millennials, and people that are coming out now in the working world.
Thank you. Let's talk about the sectors and the industry, the occupational safety and health in the sectors and industry. You represent everyone a different sector. By your experience, how can we describe the main priorities or subjects for your sector and his stakeholders in this by your professional experience? Can I ask first Mr. Balfousias? What's your experience about the main priorities in occupational safety that touch the sustainability issues?
Yeah, sure. Look, the challenges related to health and safety changes as time passes, all right? The new challenges are coming ahead of us. Let's see, the main challenges that I see now what we have to face in Greece that I'm working right now. All right, we have to overcome, challenges related to new products or to new fuels, new type of fuels. Stress is a factor that we have to overcome because, we are now in an environment and in an economy that is developing and evolving in Greece, all right? And the jobs are open and, the requirements are getting higher and higher. So the stress is always a part of the day-to-day job. The reduction of CO2, which is a global challenge. Okay, we want to make sure that we have our planet will be here for the next centuries. And another issue that we face lately, I would say, is related to some language barriers that we see in people in the plants. Right, because currently you can see that the new generation of the people are not so much willing to work with their hands, to say it simply. I mean, I have heard young people that have finished university, 23, 24 years old, and they tell me that they prefer to work part-time in a bar, let's say in the summer, or they prefer to work as a delivery. And I think they will gain maybe more money practically with less effort, right? So one of the issues that we see that the Western civilization is facing currently is people dealing with technical expertise, right? Looking on a bit from my point of view, let's say from big industrial plants.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Papakostas, by your experience and you represent a different sector, what do you think? What can be? How can you describe the main priorities, challenges, or subjects for companies and their stakeholders today in your sector?
Our sector is mainly the concession projects of motorways. So compared to the past, there was not such a sector. So this is a new sector. So organizational wise and technical wise, it's a new thing. So I would like to discuss a little bit about both. So let me give you an example. The construction of a project, of a concession project, is taken over by the concessionaire and executed usually by the construction sector of the shareholders. Therefore, the concessionaire does not construct itself, but gives the rights and obligation in a back-to-back scheme to its shareholders. Consequently, shareholders are becoming subcontractors at the same time. Same goes for maintenance as well. So the concessionaire, the company, has to manage its subcontractors in the maintenance or in the construction of the project in terms of project management, price, quality, safety, of course, where at the same time, the subcontractors are directly related to the shareholders. You can understand the obstacles. Supervising or monitoring an entity which there is a direct relationship cannot provide a framework of independent control. And this is the organizational challenge. About the technical challenge, we have to deal with the special and demanding condition of carrying out maintenance, sometimes construction as well, and operation works, of course, near an operating section of the motorway. So usually subcontractors who do not necessarily have the same familiarity with this complex work environment, the challenges are more pronounced. In this way, the highway user, the one that drives his car, becomes an external risk factor in which we have really little room for intervention. So we have to recognize health and safety at work as an integral part of the social dimension of our organization. Olympiados has to ensure that we convey the message of our commitment to a safe working environment. We are a linear project. We employ and collaborate with organizations drawn from various local communities. This is the critical point. All along the highway. During the construction phase, for example, the construction of Corinthos Patra, we almost reached 300 people working at the same time for the project. Most of them are living in the local societies. They participate in the local communities. Local businesses were benefited. There were development and growth in the local businesses. Consequently, a sustainable project is directly linked with a sustainable local community. But how can we talk about sustainable projects, growth or local communities, if people of the communities who work on these projects are facing high risks during their activities? How can we promote a modern and high-tech project if workers return injured to their homes? Imagine the impact to a society if a member of this community is heavily injured during his work. So the key objective of a concession company, the key objective of Olympiados, is to come up with organizational and technical or technological solutions focusing on overcoming the aforementioned obstacles. Prevention of accidents at work and occupational diseases ensure a better well-being of the personnel working on the concession projects.
Thank you. Mrs. Bultuka, you work for energy sector. It's
gas. Oil and gas is a difficult question to solve. For us, ensuring health and safety of our employees, our contractors, so many contractors, and our neighbors has always been a material topic. Ever since we know ourselves, a very crucial element for our employees, but also for our stakeholders. So working for and ensuring the health and safety of our employees, but also our contractors and our neighbors is always on the agenda and always something that we are working on. But currently, we are also transforming in a broader energy company, which means that a lot of projects are running, a lot of changes are happening. Certainly a priority for us is change management. And as you know, change management is linked to health and safety, because it has to, all the changes have to be run smoothly. And health and safety professionals have to really assess all these changes and take the necessary measures to make sure that all these transitions are done smoothly and all the controls are there to protect health, safety, and also the environment, of course. The stress of all this project is linked to psychosocial risks, as I said before, so risk assessments need to take place there as well. Some new hazards may arise as we are working heavily on projects which are linked to improvements for environmental impact. So we need to also consider that. And of course, we need to certainly lead the way in the value chain, because there are a lot of other companies connected to our company. So we certainly are working in our supply chain. We are not alone and we're not working on our own. So we need to take all our partners with us in this journey. So there is a lot of work to be, done, a lot of priorities. We've left behind the typical role of the HSE advisor years ago. So we are out of our traditional box, let's say. And I think that the key word here is engagement. We need to engage all of our employees in this journey and all of our partners and stakeholders in this journey, because we need them with us. We need their ideas. We need their commitment in order to do all this transformation together. Otherwise, we won't make it, because a lot of changes are coming in the near future and also long term. HSE is no longer work only considered for the HSE professionals. We've left this behind some time ago. And of course, HSE is not compliance focused for some years now. So it's a big challenge, but also very interesting journey that we're running at the moment in the years coming. A lot of priorities that we know and a lot of unknown priorities coming, but personally, I'm thrilled to be part of this journey. Thank you.
A last question from me, because we have a lot of questions from the participants. Occupational safety and health in sustainability or CSR reporting. All of you have experience, a lot of experience from your participation, for your implication to the CSR reporting or the sustainability reporting. How can you describe the contribution of occupational safety and health in the sustainability reports, in the S factor of your company? And what was the evolution of occupational and safety and health issues in the reporting of your company? Mrs. Bultuka,
Yes. I don't like talking about reporting, but it's necessary. So we have been issuing annual, we used to call them safety and environmental reports. In 2006, that was the first one that we issued for a long time. And we measure our health and safety performance according to CONCAVE. It is a sector in Europe, oil and gas sector in Europe, for benchmarking for a long time now. But a lot has changed since then. So since 2006, we're implementing the GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative. And I always like to think reporting as a tool that will help us to of course, measure ourselves and also improve. And if you see it that way, indeed, you can use it for good. I mean, you can measure what you're doing. You can see what you're not doing. You can measure yourself against other companies. And of course, there are so many things that you can measure if you have the time and the tools to do so. So in time, we have measured more and more KPIs. And now, because of the current needs, we have added a lot more information in our annual reports. And I've heard from Mrs. Alexiou that more is to come on that, which is good, because at some point it is good, because it's one thing to say that you're doing something, but another thing is to prove what you're doing and to measure what you're doing against others. But the thing that we are focusing now is actually the tools that we're using for reporting in order to ensure transparency of the data, accountability. It is very, very important for people inside the company to know that the data they are providing, they are accountable for. So everyone here is responsible for the data they are providing. So it's not just a number. They are responsible for the numbers they are providing, and they need to know that. And also we are looking at the consistency of the data. So we have the data for a long time now, but consistency, transparency, and accountability is something that we are working more on, because evidence is crucial for reporting. So digital transformation is helping us on that. There are plenty of digital tools now that a company can use in order to do all this necessary reporting. So actually, this is, I think, the biggest change that is happening at the moment in our company, because reporting is something that we do for a long time now.
Thank you very much. Mr. Papakostas, are you agree with Mrs. Voltuka? What's your experience from your company in sustainability reporting and safety and health and his role?
Okay, sustainability reporting in terms of health and safety management, or as you may call it, it has an easy part and its difficult part. The easy part is that most of the issues that we run as a health and safety item are measurable, but the difficult part is that some of the issues that we run are not measurable at all. Because in the beginning we referred to safety leaders. We cannot easily measure the awareness that the safety leaders can cause. We cannot easily measure strategic decisions. We cannot easily quantify what we can have as a strategy towards the societies and to protect everyone in the communities. Okay, I would start with many things for our company. I would say that we adopt the health and safety standards of the shareholders, or that we implement an integrated management system, or we provide as a commitment minimum health and safety standards. But this is too generic. Let's leave outside the general corporate slogans, and I would prefer to be more specific, that we implement strategic and technical tools, but also adopt new tools, technological tools, to protect all employees who work on behalf of our activities. So we choose we choose actions of strategic interest with organizations such as ELINIAE, the Greek Occupational Health and Safety Institute. We have co-signed a memorandum with a memorandum of collaboration with ELINIAE, so that we can create new perspectives in health and safety at work. We actively participate in the annual Vansiko Session Shareholders International Safety Week with presentation videos, workshops, trainings, interactive experience, but also we participate in EU research programs which combine technology, innovation, development of software and digital twin platforms with a clear objective to optimize safety supervision and enhance the level of safety performance in a construction or maintenance site. Taking this opportunity, I would like to invite you all to attend the webinar that will take place on Friday and will detail the output of this EU program, research program, the output so far with regard to safety monitoring and on safety training. I can, if you agree, I can add the link in the chat box here. You just have to make a free registration.
Mhm.
A second, I can do it right now. It's free, and a professor from the Dutch Technical University will make this 1-hour webinar. Does not take much time. Of course, we are organizing, as I said before, with the Greek Occupational Institute for Health and Safety, an internal campaign. Maybe you have heard that we have the new section of the motorway from Patras to Pyrgos is under construction. So we have an ongoing safety campaign. We started the campaign in November. So there's an ongoing campaign with a title, Destination Safety, because we are used to saying safety first. We, as Olympias DOS, say that it's not only first, safety is not only first, but it's also a daily destination, because we want to return home safely every day. So, in addition to the organizational or strategical tools, as we saw, and let me open a parenthesis over here, we cannot easily measure what I just said. There are also some other pure technical ones with use of special equipment, about the traffic arrangements. We all have seen traffic arrangements on the motorway, so this is a critical part that because the motorway users are becoming, as I said before, a critical risk for our works, but they also having the risks themselves, not only for our works. We have also really software-wise, we are implementing these new tools. We have introduced a new project, we can call it Smart Tunnel. So we have the inspection of infrastructure. I will explain to you the inspection of the infrastructure assets often brings inconvenience to the users, but also brings the workers into contact with risks. This project that I'm telling you, sensors are installed in the electromechanical elements of the highway in a tunnel, which measure critical parameters, vibration, temperature, etc., etc. And with IoT technology, the information is automatically transferred to Olympiados. So there is no need for traffic arrangements, mobilization of crews, lifting machines, special partners, depending on the type of works. Only when the indications of the sensors require so, we mobilize the team for further investigation. In this way, the frequency of the contact with the hazard is limited, and therefore the risk due to the works is mitigated. Obviously, and I can refer to other technical solutions as well, but obviously, and as clearly measurable factor, the social pillar of the ESG approach, occupational and safety, is highlighted in our sustainability report, of course, as a specific sector.
Thank you. Mr. Balfousias, your comment about reporting and occupational safety and health.
Okay, let us mention on more the questions that were raised currently. Okay, first of all, you said what is the risk assessment has found about the hazards and the risk in the workplace, and what are the measures that we have put in order to mitigate them, correct? All right, this is something continuously. This is something that has been done in all big companies many years ago, and I guess that not only big companies, everyone must have a risk assessment in place. And I would say that this is something dynamic. This is something that requires continuous effort in order to ensure that the conditions are remaining safe and the people are aware of the hazards in their workplace. In order to ensure this one, I mean, because I see as well in the comments and the question some things about policemen and stuff like that. To put a policeman in order to ensure safety, I think is the last solution that you must have. You cannot win anything with this one. Maybe you can win something for a very short period of time. The secret is to convince the people about the necessity of doing their job right. So this one is achieved only with the three C's: the communication, cooperation, and contribution of everyone. How can I make something? How can I suggest a safe work if I'm not let's say you have a driver. The drivers are traveling long distances. They have other issues related to how they get tired and stuff like that. Or let's say traffic. And or let's see what are the problems that they face during their work. You have to include them in all this procedure in order to ensure that you can have accountability for them and that you will be able to analyze in the right way their hazards. So we're going again to the part of empathy that Maria had. I mean, I will focus on this one because it is extremely important to have the people with you, right? Digital tools, of course, Mr. Papasadino mentioned, is a very, very good tool. And currently, there are many companies that have things to propose, and I guess that sky is the limit concerning this one. We're now discovering how digital era can help in our day-to-day work, and of course, there are many people being safety. I don't know if I have 2 minutes just to no, I don't want to do this one. I mean, we have a lot of procedures and a lot of systems and a lot of digital tools that we have already implemented, including Lototo procedure, how to make Lototo with the use of your mobile Lototo, log out, tag out, try out, which is one of the most important rules, essential rules when you're working in an industry, how to ensure that the machine will not start and you will not have an accident. How to focus, let's say, how to follow the things that are taking place outside in the field. Let's say in one of the main hazards that we are facing in cement industry and concrete and construction has to do with the fact that you cannot follow what's going on outside. Right? You can follow what's going on in your premises more easily, but what's going on outside, I'm sure that whoever is dealing with the road work, I mean, like, although things are, this is one of the main problems. That's why you have to convince the people of how to work, to do the work properly. So what do you do for this one? To make sure that you include them as well in the process, and they are giving you feedback, they are providing feedback, and you provide solutions in order to make their job easier and more safe. Now, concerning the report and the sustainability, yes, health and safety is included many years now. It's included as a general remark, it's included as data related to our KPIs, and it's included as well as initiatives. I mean, what are the initiatives that we have in safety from every country within the group? That is, and it's actually, let's say, new initiatives are being able to be promoted, be advertised, and then people can use it as well. So concluding, I would say again what I said in the beginning: empathy and being close to the people is the key to improve your safety, the safety conditions within your organization.
Thank you, Mr. Balfousias. Before I ask a comment from Mrs. Alexiou, there is a question for Mrs. Burduka by Mrs. Emilia Petkovska. who says, difficult to organize and follow the subcontractor activities. I would say that it's a good practice to have a safety policeman for each project who takes care about coordination. How do you collect the data, Mrs. Burtuka?
I understand that data
the
collection has
two
to do with
yes,
different questions
yes.
related to
It's a
subcontract.
comment and a question also.
Indeed, it is difficult to control the subcontractor activities. And this is why, as we said before, you have to work with your supply chain, with your value chain.
That's a fragile.
So you have to go back and you have to work with your suppliers, with your contractors, and you have to have ESG criteria regarding the selection of your contractors and suppliers. And the idea is not to, just select 5 contractors and let all the others out of your supply chain. But the idea is to help your supply chain upgrade as you are upgrading as well. So you have to educate your suppliers and your contractors, and you have to help them meet the standards that you want them to meet. So when you are a big company, you want year by year your contractors to come up as you're going up, so to come up with you. So we are doing a lot of work on that. And I think that if you achieve that, and if one day your contractors and your suppliers do meet the criteria that you have set, it will be easier to check them on field, because they will meet the standards that you have set at the beginning. But it takes a lot of work, and it will take some time. Not that much now, because I think that at least our big contractors and suppliers have also started to work on health and safety and environment issues for quite some time now. Now, for the second one, regarding the sustainability reporting, I will briefly describe how it works on us, because we are a group of companies. So the group has a lot of companies, and each company has a lot of facilities. So there is a platform that combines several reporting standard requirements. Some of them are common, some others are not. And for each company and for each facility of the company, there are contributors for the reporting. So these people are accountable for providing the data. Their name and surname is now known in the platform, so we know who has provided the data. He is the person responsible for providing this data because he is the owner of the data. Then there is a reviewer. So he is someone responsible for checking the data because he is capable of reviewing the data. And then there is someone higher in the hierarchy that is an approver. And after this is done, there is an external auditor verifying the data. So when we have the annual report published, anyone can trace the data back, and we can be sure that what is published is actually what is the data, that it is the right data in place. This is what I was talking about before, about transparency and accountability. It is not one person's work. Everyone, as they are doing the everyday job, are responsible for some part of the data. They are owners of specific data. If this data is meaningful for the reporting, they are the ones accountable for providing this data for the reporting. So everyone is contributing to the reporting. Thank you. Hope
Thank
I answered the question.
I would like to ask a comment from Maria Alexiou. But first of all, there is a big discussion in the chat about the smallest of the company or supply chain or the metrics about how the smallest company can support it to be aligned with the sustainability and metrics. So I would like to ask you about that and a comment about all the discussion. Maria.
I think the topic that is raised in the question is the right topic, as we all understand that large companies, large groups, as the ones we had the privilege to hear in this panel, are for sure more ready, more engaged, and more clear to their own sustainability and health and safety ambitions and endeavors. The real challenge we face, and particularly in countries like Greece or other European Union member states, is small and medium-sized companies. It is actually these smaller businesses, family business, that they operate locally. They don't have the same privileges, let's say, to take all these trends and all these tools that we have developed and we have been aware of and we have implemented so many years. So they are, let's say, the real challenge, not only for large companies, but also for governments and also for European Union. And of course, the motto is that we have to have this transition in a just and inclusive manner. The idea is that we cannot allow ourselves to leave SMEs behind in the sustainability transformation. And who is going really to help SMEs, which today, allow me to say, produce the majority of our GDP, and they also represent the majority of employment positions. More than 65% of employment within European Union depends on SMEs. If we allow ourselves to leave them behind, we are going to destroy our markets and our economy. So it is both the responsibility of the large companies and also the responsibility of states to include SMEs in the process of change, to help SMEs to adopt new standards and even to become themselves as accountable as it takes in their own, let's say, proportion. Because if we talk about impact, the impact is not the same for the large companies and the small companies. The impact differs. So we have to be fair, we have to be just, and we have to take care of our role, as I said earlier, to engage with all of those SMEs and all those business partners from both sides, downstream and upstream, that we have to engage in this journey together. Actually, this is already provided, and this is a tip for all of us. This is already provided in the new proposal of the European Union for the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, which is coming as well, and which will oblige us as large companies to engage with SMEs in our value chain and to train them in the systems, in the processes, in the tools, in the business approach that will make them also sustainable. So with the directives that are coming, the role of large companies is even more clear now in the way this transformation is going to take place. And what we heard in this panel, actually allow me to say this comment, is what we are going to see in the future becoming a standard practice. So if what Ms. Bulduka, Mr. Balfousias, and Mr. Papakostas said, hair to your eyes being too extreme or too advanced or too much in front, this has to become a standard practice for all of us from now on. So the way we have invested so far in this change is going to change in order to include all these aspects that we discussed in this panel. So my message is, let's get ready. This is a change that we have to do for all, and particularly for the ones to come. It is our responsibility, I think. And the question is, what do you think? Is this our responsibility or not? Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you all of you for your contribution in this very interesting discussion about sustainability and occupational health and safety. I think thank you all for your comments. So the floor is yours for the next issue to discuss. I think that the next year, maybe the metrics will be a major subject to discuss. Thank you all of you.